Yo, what is going on, you guys? So today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, I'm going to be dropping a bit of a bold take. I'm going to be going over some numbers and some analysis as to why I personally believe that PSA 10s right now are a little bit overrated and why I would not buy, high pop PSA 10s right now. And we're going to be going over a lot of data around this. Before we get into that, I did want to say, as you guys know, we have a membership program that we recently opened back up to new members to join. A lot of our members have been making a lot of money, especially leading into the NBA playoffs. We've had a crazy year this year where a lot of our members have doubled, tripled their money throughout the year. So if you do want to join, the link is down below. We are accepting new members. So head to sportscardsinvest.com. If you'd like to join into our journey, get our picks, click the link below. But without further ado, let's hop right into the video. All right, guys, so we're going to be going over some numbers from the recent year's Prism to kind of explain why I personally believe that PSA 10s are not as rare as people think, are not as collectible as people think anymore, just because, first and foremost, PSA 10s have been skyrocketing in terms of pop counts. Right now, if you look at the recent year's Prism, because in past year's Prism, quality control was very, very tough. It was tough to get PSA 10s. Panini was not focusing on quality control as much as they are now. More recently, Panini has been trying to print more centered cards, has been trying to print cards, and people have in general been taking better care of their cards as well. So essentially, cards, a lot of people have the knowledge, a lot of people ripping have the knowledge of value behind cards, and they're making a deeper effort to keep it in great condition. Between Panini and collectors and investors trying to keep these cards in better conditions, you are seeing cards, getting, you just look at a PSA 10 pop, 24,000 Wembanyama Prism. This card has been graded, roughly 40,000 times, a little bit less than 40,000 times, in this 1 year. First of all, the pop count's insane. Yes, I know. But I think the biggest thing that really scares me is that more than half of the total graded cards, I would say like 60 to 65% of the total cards graded for Wembanyama's Prisms have come back a PSA 10. That is pretty alarming. If you look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard from 2012 Prism, this is first year Prism. You can see that there's 1,000 PSA 10s, but there's also 1,000 PSA 9s. There's also almost 1,000 BGS 9.5s. So if you look at PSA 10 ratio in terms of total cards graded, the total PSA 10s compared to all cards graded, maybe 30%. 30% PSA 10s. A lot of cards are even less. If you look at guys like Anthony Davis, 2012 Prism, you're probably going to see similar numbers where you're getting, roughly 30% of the total cards graded are coming back PSA 10s. Whereas when you look at Wembanyama, you're getting 65% PSA 10. So on top of pop counts already going up a lot, you're seeing 24 times the amount of PSA 10s than a Kawhi PSA 10 or Anthony Davis or anyone from first year Prism. So the supply is just getting to a point where I think it is more important to prioritize rarity of a card compared to rarity of a grade. I would not be buying this card just because it's a PSA 10. I would prioritize a more rare card in general. So I would be buying the card over the grade. I personally, if I'm investing in Wembanyama, I'm looking for that card that I think has the best long-term upside compared to the grade, because also grading standards change over time. If I remember when I got into cards, people preferred a BGS 9.5 over a PSA 10. I know it sounds crazy to say in today's market, but it wasn't long ago. It was maybe 6-7 years ago. People would value a BGS 9.5 at the same, if not higher than a PSA 10. And right now we're seeing that totally opposite. You got hardly anyone sending to BGS compared to PSA. If you look at some of these cards right here, like this card right here has like 90 cards graded for a white Wembanyama Prism. 75 of them are PSA 10s. Like, that just kind of blows my mind. I don't think, if you're buying this card, almost all of them are PSA 10s. There's nothing special with the PSA 10. You're buying this card, it's out of 175. It's a rare card, but if you're paying an insane premium for a PSA 10. There's 75 of them. You're paying $6,500, $6,000 for a PSA 10, whereas there are 5 BGS 9.5s, almost the same. I guess you could call it standard. At least it used to be the same standard. Of course, things are changing a little bit, but there are only 5 of them, and you can get it for, a little bit more than half the price of a PSA 10. I just don't see the urge of paying that premium for that PSA 10 anymore. I don't see paying almost double for a card that's, you 15 times more common and around the same grading standard. I just don't see myself paying that standard, because who knows, 10 years from now, you're probably going to be in AI grading. There's probably going to be a lot of other grading companies around. There's probably going to be different ways people grade. I don't see paying that premium for a gem in PSA 10 when you can get a gem in BGS 9.5 for half that price almost. So I personally just believe that the rarity is not there. I don't think you're paying for the rarity. I think you're paying for that PSA label, which is hot right now, easier to move right now. If you're flipping, I understand it. If you're holding for the long term, I don't recommend paying that premium. And a lot of the times, if you send these BGS 9.5s in, they're looking pretty similar to a PSA 10. I think a lot of them could get that PSA 10. If you look at the amount that have been sent to PSA, there's been 90 sent to PSA and 75 have come back 10s. If you're sending in a BGS 9.5, I think there's a good chance you're getting a 10 and you're paying a little bit more than half that price. So I know it's a bull take. I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear it, but I personally believe that you're better off buying those 9.5s than buying those 10s. Just because you're paying a lot less, you're getting a similar standard card. Yes, I know you're not getting that PSA, backing behind it, which everyone is really sought after right now. But I just think in the long term, if you're holding it, you're getting, 1/40th the amount. That's like 2 to 3% the amount of BGS 9.5s as PSA 10s for a lot of these cards. And it just doesn't make much sense to me. Of course, you're getting that premium, and that's why everyone's sending to PSA. But I think at some point it's going to come crashing down just because of how common these cards have gotten. Even a Silver Prism, known to be, a little bit more of a standard, lower pop card, still 4,300 PSA 10s and only 100 BGS 9.5s. I just think it's not making sense how a BGS 9.5 is 60% the price of a PSA 10, and it's a lot more rare, similar grading standard. You're paying for that premium, but I don't know if I see it in the long term yet. If you look at, Kawhi's Prism Silver, you're going to see pop counts at, you're going to be stunned compared to where they were for Wembanyama. Wembanyama's it just released last year, and there's already 4,300 PSA 10s. Kawhi, there's 40 PSA 10s. So 1% the pop count in the last 13 years compared to what's been graded in the last year. And that is alarming to me. If you look at Kawhi, there's a lot more BGS 9.5s because BGS 9.5s were the standard back then instead of PSA 10. So more people, if you look at this card, almost the same amount of people, if not more people, are sending that card to BGS than PSA. And down the line, maybe it's BGS, maybe it's PSA, maybe it's a third party. Who knows? Maybe it's an AI grader that's grading it and there's a new label behind it. Who knows? The point is that I wouldn't be paying for the same condition of a card. I wouldn't be paying double for that PSA stamp anymore just because of the rarity, especially for, newer cards. I don't see paying that premium anymore. So it's my personal take. I know a lot of people are not going to agree with it. I know a lot of people are still stuck on PSA. I think it may take some time. It may take 5 years. It may take 10 years. It may take 3 years. It may take 1 year and AI just takes over. Who knows? But I would be buying the card and the condition of the card over the number on the card. That is my personal take. You can always send that same card to different grading companies based off what grading company's hot at the time. But I would be prioritizing the condition over. And I would be prioritizing the condition and the rarity of the card over that number, whether it's a 10 or a 9.5. If you look at Shea, they're 28 9.5s, they're almost 700 PSA 10s, they're almost 2,000 PSA 9s. You're paying $1,500 for a PSA 10, whereas you can get a BGS 9.5 for $500. That just makes no sense to me. Of course, it's probably up since this sale. Maybe it's $800, maybe it's $700. But the point is that there's a 9.5 has become more rare than a PSA 10, similar condition of the card. Who knows what grading is going to be in the long term? Who knows if it's going to be PSA, BGS, or a third-party grader? Like I said, an AI grader that just scans the card and gives a grade. I would be buying the condition of the card instead of paying double to get the same condition card for a different company label. That's my personal take. I hope you all enjoy this video. Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to start a conversation. Like, what do you guys think? What is your guys' strategy when it comes to PSA, BGS, other grading companies? Do you even touch other grading companies? Do you even touch BGS? Do you even touch PSA? What are you guys thinking? I hope y'all enjoy this video. Appreciate all the support. And other than that, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.